So, last Wednesday I went to Barcelona to see Scenic Life. I actually took a 1-week vacation from my 9 to 5 in order to be able to spend a couple of days in Barcelona to get lost in its polarized beauty. If you ever find yourself in Spain, visit Barcelona. Honestly, it's a must. There's everything for everyone. It's quite an artistic city. Every single time you turn around, you see buildings full of history, interesting cafes, bars, craft breweries, museums, you name it. And since I had a lot of time in my hands, I went and visited a couple of craft breweries there. And the first one, Caldercold, quite close to Las Ramblas, technically still inside Barrio Gótico or the Gothic Quarter. They have quite a selection of beers of their own. You can choose from 10 different type of beers. So I went for their Session IPA. Beautiful beer, quite refreshing, very fruity. And then after that I tried their Chocolate and Panela Imperial Stout. Panela, if you don't know, it's the unprocessed form of brown sugar. Very creamy and dense, really sweet and high ABV as you would expect. And since still I had a lot of hours in my hands, I went and visited another craft beer type of restaurant, Coco Vale Beer Hall, and I tried really nice and refreshing IPA. This bar has the typical craft beer American vibe. And since I still had a lot of time in my hands and I wanted to get rid of the alcohol buzz, I went and took a hike to the Montjuic Hill. It's a beautiful 45 minutes walk or hike from the city center. And it's a perfect place if you get a bit overwhelmed by Barcelona's concrete jungle. And right after I got to the top, this beer peregrine took a well-deserved 20 minutes break. And then it was time for me to head down since my check-in time was getting near. Yet, once I went down and I reached the city center, I honestly literally bumped into another craft beer bar, and guess what happened? Delicious beer, very fruity, very refreshing. And then I head outside, I look at the time, and then I still had a couple more hours to kill. So guess what? Of course I went to another bar.
Surprise, surprise!
This time I went to All Gods Brewery, which actually I had no idea, but they are related with the first bar that I visited. Actually, I think they're the same guys. And since for some reason that they had the IPA bug, I went with another of their IPAs. Totally recommend this bar if you are into craft beers, if you actually want to try different things. They actually grow and harvest their own hops, which makes it even more interesting. So it was finally time for me to head into the hotel, do the check-in, get a quick meal, get a shower, get dressed, and head straight into the venue. Actually, the cartel was pretty sick, starting with Cryptosy, a technical thrash metal band with, I don't know, death metal sprinkles here and there. If you're into bands like, let's say, Coroner and maybe Watchtower, you're going to love these guys. A lot of energy on stage, and the drummer was fucking sick. Then it was time for Obscura. They killed it with their prog technical death metal. Extremely talented musicians. And finally, it was time for Almighty Cynic. cannot say anything but what a beautiful show. What an amazing, beautiful show. They played Focus from beginning to end, which was amazing. And then they added a few songs from Trace the Air, Carbon Based Anatomy, and one song, if I'm not mistaken, from Ascension Codes. And Paul was super nice and respectful, no ego bullshit whatsoever, just a beautiful human being. And now, what does Beers, Cynic, and Barcelona have to do with this video's title? Nothing. And everything at the same time. This is a theme that I wanted to explore for a long time now, and it's actually the marriage or connection in between metal, spirituality, and conscious. How can a genre that is violent and aggressive by nature become a vessel or a gateway for powerful and meaningful messages that in cases it even avoids the logical and mental understanding? Many other bands have adventured into this area of the spiritual and consciousness exploration. Bands like Tool, Gojira, Devin Townsend. Yet it's something that nowadays we are seeing more and more. And even when metal is so judged and so related to the whole satanic cliche and ripping bats head off and whatnot, there is a huge, infinite potential for metal to become a spiritual genre. And why? Well, the thing is that, let's start with, when you think of spirituality, the first image that comes into your head is this yogi master on the top of a mountain, sitting and meditating with the beautiful sound of birds and nature next to a waterfall, and all is peaceful and everything is beautiful. Or even worse is the picture of the typical yoga weekend warrior Karen, that every single time you speak with her, she will include words like Pachamama, Namaste in every single sentence. But at the end of the day, we know that they are all full of shit. Now, spirituality, the real spirituality, starts, and it's quite related with a word we metalheads love and adore: darkness. Spirituality is nothing but dealing with your own ghosts, traumas, anxiety, fears, toxic loyalties. I don't want to get too deep here, but trust me, no real spiritual person, guide, healer, or whatever you want to name it, started this journey because they had nothing better to do. Started their journey because they experienced some ugly, fucked up situations, but were smart and humble enough to study and meditate as to why these situations presented themselves in their lives. So, going back to the point. Metal was born out of the necessity to be able to express all of those dark and negative emotions that no other genre at the moment allowed. And all of this is great and dandy since metal has been able to transform all of this shit into the beautiful and distorted music we all love and adore. So what would happen if the wounded becomes the healer? If all of a sudden all of this shit that caused such a great deal of trauma gets transformed into fertilizer? What if metal bands more and more lean into that next level of offering wisdom through their own experience, using this powerful genre as a vessel to heal thousands and thousands of listeners? I mean, I'm not talking about having a new wave of pseudo hippie metal bands, but maybe some bands who can shed some light into all of this darkness while still being able to be heavy, true, and distorted as well. What are your thoughts on this? Do you think that metal has actually the potential to be able to heal thousands, if not millions of people? Let me know in the comments. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching this video. This is a part where I'm actually going to ask a favor of you. If you find this video helpful and entertaining, please click that little like button there. I know it gets old, every single YouTuber out there is asking you to do this, but you honestly have no idea how much this helps. And also, I'll invite you to see the rest of my videos. You might see some of them here. And if you find that content good and or entertaining, please think about subscribing to this channel. You actually have no idea how helpful that is for small channels like me. Once again, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you have an amazing and kick-ass weekend. Get together with friends, blast some heavy and distorted music, headbang like a maniac, and while you're at it, break your neck.